What's up, everybody? How we doing? How we doing? Where y'all at out there? What's happening? I'm John Browner. That's the March to 300. That is the March to 300. That's the number that we're trying to get to. And we will keep going until we get to that number, because when we get to the road to 300, we're gonna do a map to 500. I don't know what the number. I don't know what it's gonna be, but it'll be a chart. I'm John Brown. This is the John Browner Podcast. Thank you guys for joining me today. If you're on YouTube and you're new to the program, subscribe. If you are on X, please do me a favor and retweet the show if that's how you came across it. If you came across the show on Twitch or you came across the show on Kick, do whatever people do on Twitch and Kick to, populate the show. Follow, subscribe. I don't know how that works, but help your boy out, man. If you're new to the show, become a friend of the friend. Holler at us in the chat pack. That's what we call our people who listen to the show and comment via the comment section here in the show. We got a lot on the line today on the show. We're talking about Brendan Sorsby going to the supplemental draft. We're talking about the Padres getting one hit, and I'm going to tell you about believing people when they tell you who they are. We're going to have a conversation on the show today about believing people when they expose themselves for who they are. So you may want to stick around for that. As always, the easiest way to reach the show, whether you want to be a part of the show or you have something long form to say that's too long for the comment section, you can go to the John Browner Podcast at gmail.com and you can leave me a message in there. We'll get to that. When we get more to the World Cup, when there's something that I can break down, like tonight, we got Mbappe. Tonight, we got Messi. So I don't really know how to preview those games. So until we get a chance to see those games, I don't really know how to talk about them. So we'll get Coach back on here to talk some soccer. We'll dive deep into that. There's a lot to get to. There's a lot to get to. And as always, you see the merch. You see the shirts. You see the hats. The John Browner Podcast shop. Help the shop out. Help pay some of these bills, y'all. Don't worry about the high price stuff. It's high quality. But at the same time, there's some T-shirts in there. And we're working on getting some smaller trinkets, some stickers and things of that nature so you guys can continue to help the show and be a part of the show. But if you're here, like I said, follow the show, subscribe to the show, repost the show. That's how I would appreciate it if you guys would indulge me in that particular space. But let's get started. Let's get started here. The Padres get one hit. This is, and I always start with the Padres here because locally we're in Southern California, San Diego to be specific, and so I kind of try to cater to the audience that is the San Diego Padres. And I got to tell you, I got to be honest, this is getting this is a dead horse. Not that they're not successful, because their record again is still solid. But when I say this is a dead horse, the offense is what I'm speaking of. Every time you think this team is going to turn the corner, every time you think this team is going to do something that's going to allow you to root for it, they don't. They don't. And yesterday is a great indication of where they struggled. Dustin May was a solid pitcher for the Dodgers. Dustin May has had struggles. Dustin May now finds himself in St. Louis on the Cardinals. So this is a familiar opponent. Sometimes familiarity can work in your favor. Sometimes it can work against you. Yesterday worked against them. They had one hit. At least Manny had to hit, I guess. Manny having a hit is a good thing, but for them to have one hit, they got one hit by a pitcher that they know, and it's not a guy who's lighting the world on fire. So yesterday was discouraging, but you can add it to the log of fire of discouraging games that you've seen from the Padres offense. I saw something on ESPN today about the trade deadline. Trade for what? Trade for who? This is the understanding that I'm a loss for when people are talking about trading things in the Padres organization. Trade who? Trade again for who? Unless you're trading for some otherworldly talent, who are the Padres going to trade for that they don't already have who's not hitting? That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's the question I'm asking to every Padre fan when they talk about the trade deadline. And again, AJ Preller usually makes trades before the deadline because the closer you get to the deadline, the more expensive these guys get. And if you can get them in June cheaper than what you can get them in July, he's been really good at pulling the trigger. He did it on the Rise. He's done it on a couple of guys. But if you're sitting around and you're looking at them get one hit by Dustin May in a Cardinals uniform in a 60% filled stadium, when the Cardinals are traditionally a very locked-in fan base, I got a lot of questions. You got two guys on your team making $300 million. You got another guy making $200 million. You got a couple more guys making $100 million. Who you trading for? Who you trading for? At this point, the best move you can make at the trade deadline is to get your own guys to hit. Who are you going to take out of their everyday lineup? Unless you're going to trade for a top-notch left fielder, but you got Laureano playing out there who plays well when he's out there and when he's healthy. You're not trading somebody in center field. You might get a right fielder that you can move around, but they're already platoon in right field. So when you talk about the trade market, you talk about pitchers, but pitchers come at a very high cost. You going to really throw something out there that of value from your minor leagues to get Tariq Skubal? This ain't a Mason Miller situation. You're not getting a guy completely under control that's out here dominating. I don't understand at this point, at the trade deadline, with what you face in the division, there needs to be talk at that table about being a seller. And I know nobody wants to hear that. I know no one wants to hear that. But listen, man, and I don't see any other way for this team to proceed going forward unless you get these guys to start hitting. Nobody you can bring in that's worth more than what you have now or that you can get with what you have. Like at the trade deadline, there's a serious conversation about if the Padres will be sellers or if the Padres are going to be buyers. And we're nudging up to that thing, and I don't think anybody knows. The first indication will be what happens. I mean, who's going to move in a Padres organization that you would see as a serious indicator of them selling? Because they also got a lot of contracts a lot of people may not want. They're not going to trade Jackson Merrill. They're not going to trade Tatis. Nobody wants the Manny contract. Nobody wants the Xander contract. And I really don't think anybody wants the Cronenworth contract because nobody's seen them. So depending on what you have on your roster, how are you moving things? Who wants what you have for something that you can potentially pull some back for? I don't know. But another one-hit game, another no-score game, I don't think there's anybody out there that can help that. I really don't believe that there's anybody out there who can help the Padres fix the issue of hitting that they don't already have in the locker room, that they don't already have any organization, somebody that ain't already taking the flights and riding the buses, man. The best fix for this organization is for guys to start hitting that are already collecting checks and wearing uniforms. What up, Ass Technology? Welcome, brother. Welcome. Glad you found the show. Like, subscribe that thing. Retweet it on X. I can't really think of any solutions. I can't name you somebody out there that people would say is available on the trade market for the Padres to snag. That conversation is endless. That's mystery. That's mystery theater. You don't know what they're going to give up. You don't know who they want. You don't know what's available. The best course of action for this team is for the following people to hit, by the way, and these following people at the top of their lineup. Tatis, who's doing well, Merrill, Machado, Bogarts, Sheets, Laureano. That's 6 guys that you should probably hope start hitting soon. They all stunk at the same time, so hopefully they all get all good at the same time. So this is the struggle. I think we've reached and again, we still don't have a finalized ownership that they've put the money in to purchase the team. The sale hasn't been finalized. So we don't even know how they're going for it with that. You may have calls from the new ownership to go, hey, man, listen, we got a lot of money in guys who aren't hitting. Hey, AJ, what are we going to do about this? How does this look? How do we fix this? Is this a situation where, Felicio and Kwanzaa going to tell them, hey, man, do whatever you got to do, but the clock's ticking on some of these contracts. We got to pay these folks no matter what. We need some production. Oh, we need wins as results. Again, baseball is a difficult sport where even now the team hasn't been completely productive, but they still have a winning record, 37-34. They still, quote unquote, are alive in the wild card, which I hate to talk about the wild card in June, but when you fishing for anything, you just trying to get a bite. And in this particular situation, you trying to get a bite right there. You looking to cling to things. You looking for Tatis's batting average to continue to go up and for him to continue to be aggressive on the bases. At some point, we'll do a lot of conversation about what's happening with the trade, but we need to see the owners do something. And I can't really tell y'all about the new owners until the purchase is finalized. And if it doesn't get finalized, oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. Because listen, I like their new ownership. I like Feliciano and I like Kwanzaa. I think this group together with equal investment in the team, which I thought was awesome on their behalf, husband and wife, I think they can offer a lot to this community. I think because of the diversity within their ownership group, between the two of them at the very top and everybody they'll sprinkle in along the way, I think this gives this organization an opportunity to really stand out in a way that a lot of Major League Baseball teams and let alone a lot of professional teams don't. So I think these two owning this team could be a really, really good cornerstone for how it looks going forward. But they got to sign the league has to finalize the sale. The league has to approve the sale. So this one hit situation was not a good look yesterday, and the way that they've played so far in this season has not been the best of looks. So I don't really know what's next. I don't know if they're going to be buyers. I don't know if they're going to be sellers, but I can tell you right now, if I'm watching this, I'm going to try to sell one of these very high-priced pieces that I don't know if I can. Because if you're paying these guys and you're not getting the results out of them, and you got to at least get one of them off your books. You got to get one of these bricks out of your bag, man, because it's heavy. Now, if they were winning, then you stomach it and you figure it out, because at the end of the day, you want to win. You want to be competitive. They are competitive. But this team doesn't feel like a championship team. It feels professional, and that's one of the remarks I made about the team earlier this year, that I thought that it was awesome how professional that they were. Even moving through these struggles, these guys have been very professional. I like the fight that they showed in Baltimore. Like I said, I like Craig Stammen as the hire. I wasn't on board at first. I was one of those Albert Pujols people. But Craig Stammen has proven himself that to be able to do the job. I'm in favor of the way Craig Stammen has helped the team carry itself from a front-facing perspective. But he's not a hitting coach. And again, when you have a guy who was a relief pitcher, how much detail can he really give Manny on hitting when Manny's hitting 170? How much of an ear does he have of Merrill when Merrill's hitting 207? Or Cronenworth's hitting 180-something. I don't know what it is now because he's been gone for so long. But you have a lot of guys just not mustering up. The offense it was there in Baltimore. I thought at the end of the Baltimore series, we were turning the page. I thought at the end of the Baltimore series, we were going to see at least some consistent 4 or 5 run production, because that's basically what they did in Baltimore. And with the, you throw at our guy, we throw in at your guy type situation, that felt like camaraderie. Or was it just business for these dudes? I don't know, man, but I don't know. This is an interesting conversation to have, because yesterday's one hit game, and you throw that log on the fire of a bunch of games where they've either haven't scored or scored less than 2 runs or less than 3 runs. In modern baseball, that's just not going to cut it. This is not going to cut it. And because of the wild card, you can still have a good season without winning the division. Because as you can tell, the division's been gone for a while. Even this year now, the division's arrivederci. You're damn near a week behind in games to a team that's really a juggernaut. But you knew that ahead of time. You knew that ahead of time. You knew what you were up against the Dodgers ahead of time. So that's not even going to factor into the situation of whether you buying or selling. You're buying or selling looking in the mirror. You're buying and selling going, what can I improve on this roster that we have? What can I bring in? And if I can't bring in something to add to this, are they going to stand pat? Because if they stand pat, now everybody's going to be mad because there are clearly holes in this roster. But again, is the fix on another team? I don't believe it is. I just don't believe that the fix is on another team. I don't believe there's anyone who can come here that has a more of a track record of Manny Machado being successful. I don't think there's anyone that can come in here that you can get that has the upside of Merrill. I don't think there's no one you can go out there and get that can have the presence of Tatis. And pitchers are too expensive. And I know a lot of people will say, well, we talk about pitchers. They need pitchers. Pitchers are very expensive. Very, very expensive. And they already cleaned out what was really wanted in there to get Juan Soto and then to get a couple of other guys. So, I don't know, man. This is going to be difficult. I don't know if they're trading. I don't know if they're buying. I don't know if they're selling. I really don't. I always want to give a shout out to my people at the Sporting Tribune on X. Shout out to all my folks over at the Sporting Tribune on X. We do a nightly show called the Sporting Tribune tonight. I'm going to try to, start putting some writings together because y'all know I love the journalism, Big J. Editorials only, though. Shout out to Araj. Shout out to everybody who we did the show with last night. Great show, always fun. So you guys could definitely check that out at night. Subscribe to the podcast at the John Browner Podcast on YouTube. A lot of you guys come to the show via YouTube, so I love and I appreciate that. So continue to like the show. Continue to share the show. If you're on X, do me a favor and retweet the show. Give the guy, me, the John Browner Podcast a like. Give the show a follow. And let's continue to move forward. Continue to try to grow it because we're trying to get to 300. Now, I also want to talk about something on the show today that is not baseball related, but it is sports related. This Brandon Sorsby situation that's going on at Texas Tech. So Brandon Sorsby has indicated that he will now be entering the supplemental draft in the NFL. And so for people who don't know how the supplemental draft works, the supplemental draft basically allows teams to do a silent auction to put a bet down on Brandon Sorsby. And if that works, then you get him. So if, let's say, the Chargers and the Rams both put in silent bids, the Rams did a 5th pick, the Chargers did a 4th pick, the Chargers would get him. But you got to put something in there for this kid. And this kid was supposed to be a first-round pick. This isn't some pushover. This isn't some, 5th, 6th rounder. You would be getting this guy who has first-round potential in next year's draft when next year's draft is supposed to be filled with a bunch of stars. There's reports saying that this kid would have been taken as the second quarterback in this year's draft, which doesn't say much. But nonetheless, I want to have a different conversation about Brandon Sorsby because for those of you who don't know, Brandon Sorsby is a quarterback. He played at Indiana. I think it was Indiana. Indiana and Texas Tech. I'm trying to remember. I want to make sure it was Indiana. No, it was Cincinnati. I'm sorry. Cincinnati and Texas Tech. But while at Cincinnati, apparently he made more than 8,000 bets. Okay. He gambled on his team to win, allegedly, more than 8,000 times in 4 years. Now, I don't know how any of this got found out. I don't know how any of this got flagged. But then upon arrival at Texas Tech, He was suspended, and then they challenged it, and then the judge upheld, a Texas Tech judge upheld it. I mean, listen, they're telling you this kid's got a gambling problem. Everybody in the Big 12, everybody in the conference, then all of a sudden, college football wants to now have a spine. College football now wants to have standards. College football now wants to have, rules. They want to put some teeth in the rules now. Everybody in college football said, oh, well, we're just not going to play that. Not everybody, but people who were on their schedule said, oh, well, no, we just won't play them. All right, man. Cool. If that's what y'all want to do. Here's the deal with me, and this is what I think about the situation with gambling. Because there's also rumors that the NFL might not even let him in the supplemental draft because of the gambling, which I find to be hypocrisy at the highest level. The NFL, ESPN, and NFL are in bed together. There are no covers on the bed. There are no sheets. They're just butt naked in the bed together. ESPN and the NFL. And who else is in that bed with them? Gambling. Prize Picks, DraftKings, ESPN Bet was a thing. ESPN had their own betting app. They had their own wagering system. Mike Greenberg, a sports commentator, Stephen A. Smith, Mad Dog, Molly Quorum, these people were on gambling ads for ESPN Bet. And now the NFL is going to tell you that they might not even let this kid in? So now I'm confused, because this isn't Pete Rose. This isn't something where back in the day where you had to really go around your way to gamble. This isn't back in the day when the league specifically did not want players gambling, so therefore they would not allow any gambling within the league. They wouldn't allow any advertising dollars to be part of the league. Fantasy football, which, really, I think, picked up how people intake football, couldn't even be a part of game, couldn't even be a part of it in the late 90s. You wouldn't have it. Even in the early 2000s, you could not have these two things crossing over because they were afraid of gambling. And now you can't have an ad on a football game without gambling ads coming up. Giannis is now appearing in Kalshi ads, which is a gambling site. You got golfers appearing in Kashi, gambling sites, on commercials for gambling sites. So this idea that the NFL won't let this kid in because he did thousands of bets, not dollars, but I'm sure it amounted to thousands of dollars, but thousands of bets while playing, betting on his team and all that. Not to lose, but to win. But there's no difference to me. We have gotten to a point where gambling in sports is intertwined with how we intake sports. So for you to expect that these kids with money and influence in how the game plays out won't bet? What? You think that the way that these kids have access to money, you don't think that these kids have a homeboy on the team who he says, hey, man, you run my account. I'm going to throw for this many yards. In college football, in sports alone, specifically in collegiate sports, you got to suspect everything. When something doesn't look right in a collegiate competition, be suspect about everything. I don't think this will exist at the NBA level or the NFL level because these guys make so much money. The guys who can actually have an outcome on the game make so much money, it's foolish to bet on it. But this kid at Cincinnati, his NIL wasn't really rolling like that. And he sees it as harmless bets, just like you and I do. I know some people feel like because these guys are in positions of play that they shouldn't be betting. Yeah, man, that was, 30 years ago. That ain't now. That ain't now. If college football is going to allow these betting apps to make money off these kids, then you can then in turn expect for these kids not to try to get money off themselves. This is an idea about collegiate athletics that I've always had. This is an opinion I've always had. If college football, basketball, baseball, tennis, soccer, whatever the case is, if they can make money off of you, why can't you make money off of you? If DraftKings is going to use my face to place a wager under my name and my hard work, why can't I do the same? If the NFL, if the NCAA, if the Big Ten, if the Big 12, if the ACC, the SEC is going to put my face or my number or my likeness of my number in your team uniform on their app for you to bet $5 on whether I'm going to score 10 points tonight and get 10 rebounds, then I should be able to do that too. If you're allowing the league to do it, if the NCAA is allowing these people to do it, why can't I do it? Why not? When you allow these things to happen at the collegiate level, this is the mess you get yourself into. Because these are very muddy waters. These are very, very muddy waters. And you're allowing this situation to really become very fraught for fraud because you're allowing these kids to see themselves being gambled on. They can open their phone and the tight end from, Notre Dame can see somebody bet whether or not he's going to get 3 catches. And he's probably like, well, shit, I better get 3 catches. More. That's a tough ask. That's a tough ask, man. You're asking a lot of these kids, man. You really are. You're asking a lot out of them. You want them to be more mature than the AD. You want them to be more mature than the coach. You want these kids to have more self-restraint than the referees. You asking a lot out of these kids, man, and all of them ain't gonna hold up to the standard. They're just not. You ever be 20 with $100,000 in your pocket in college where everything costs $5? Huh? You ever be 21 in college with $500,000 in your pocket and a 24 case of Natty Light costs $8? You haven't. You haven't. Okay? I went to school. I didn't pay a penny to go to school. Not 1 year I went to school and played basketball. I didn't pay a penny. But I could guarantee you what? I could afford to go down to the liquor store on Friday night and give me a 24-pack of Natty Light for the team. 2, if I'm being honest with you. That's all. That's all I'm saying. These are college kids. These are young men and young women. But we're talking about the men in this particular case. But women can get involved in it too. Anybody can get it in this day and age. And so these are the type of questions that you face. Shout out to the chat pack today. I'm gonna hit y'all up. We're gonna go down there. Merlin says compromising the game, not that complicated. Compromising the game for who again? Merlin, are you for you being able to bet on whether or not what's this the Texas kid, the Manning kid? Are you for being able to go on some app and bet whether or not he's going to throw for X amount of yards? Are you okay with you being able to do that, but him not being able to collect on that either? It's his work. It's his name. It's his likeness. Again, I agree with you. It does hurt the integrity of the game. I'm with you. But if somebody gets to bet on it, but the person participating in it can't, then no one should be able to. From a collegiate level, once you get to the pros, you do whatever they could bet however they want at the pro level. But when you talk about the collegiate level, are we not protecting these kids at all anymore? Is everything for sale now? That's what I'm asking. So when Merlin has a question of compromising the game and not that complicated, my question to you strictly is, are we not protecting these kids under any circumstance at all anymore? So we as the betting public can gamble on everything these kids do on the field, and they get nothing out of it? Is that what these kids are signing up for now? That what you signing up for? You get a scholarship in college? That's what you signing up for? I disagree to that. I think we're in a brand new world of sports betting because we're in a brand new world of sports betting because you have so many different gambling sites tied to the actual organization, to the NCAA, to ESPN, to the Big Ten, to the Big 12. All these things are rolled up into one, man. All this is all baked in. Again, David P., they get paid. Yeah, they get paid. They should have got paid a long time ago. But if you're a professional athlete, that's baked into the CBA. You get a cut of that money. If in the NFL, I don't know, I'm not 100% sure how it works in the NFL, but I do know in the NBA, the NBA Players Association gets a cut of that gambling money that the NBA gets. I know that to be a 100% fact. Again, I don't know the workings of the NFL deal, but I know 100% to be a fact. In the NBA, the Players Association gets a cut of that gambling money. In the NCAA, when I can bet on Sorsby to throw 2 interceptions in the game, more, does he get a cut of that? No. No, he doesn't. And so saying that they get paid is not the end-all, be-all to the fix of the problem. Because, yeah, they are getting paid for their name, image, and likeness. But is that in the agreement? Is the gambling portion in it? I don't know it to be true. Do you? If you do, please inform me because I like information on this podcast. But that's just me, man. The gamble between what's happening with business, gambling, and the sport, it's all one soup now. It's all one soup. Now, don't get me, the game is still the broth. The game is still the broth. Without the broth, it's just a bunch of parts on a plate, just a bunch of parts in a bowl. But it's all in the soup, man. It's all in the soup. So it is that's where we're at with it. Shout out to everybody in the chat pack today. Let's give some shout outs down the chat pack today. Shout out to David P., who we already had on the show, talking discussion. Andre Prado in the building. What's going on, man? Padres are going to be selling scan trade contract that nobody wants to touch. Facts. Graham's in the building. Shout out to Graham. As Technology, as I said before, he in the building. What's up, dog? Welcome to the show for the first time. What else? Who else we got in here? Graham. Yep. Tito, what's up, my boy? What's up? Chat pack is a Taco Tuesday. Hey, listen. I didn't even think about that. Maybe I'll roll over to Puesto. You know, my favorite taco. All of a sudden, Mexica. I don't know what that's about. I don't really know what that's about, but I think that is in reference to the kids getting paid. Oh, we got another person watching who they want their shout out. Shout out, Market Killian 630. I see you. Listen, unless you put something in the chat, I can't shout you out. But all right, I'm here. Just haven't joined the chat. Hello, Margaret. Biggie, you in the building? What's up, my boy? Shout out to Biggie. Biggie be here, man. Rain or shine, Biggie be here. Love and respect. Love and respect to all y'all for coming up and showing up in the show, man. This been a whole. I missed this one before I got to that. I'm assuming this is Otani. We call him Ophony around here. So if we're talking about betting and you want to get to Ophony, that's how you got to say. Oh, you got to say Ophony for me to realize, for me to see what that is. I didn't know who Fake Tani was until I was going back up and through here. But yeah, man, I appreciate and love all y'all for being a part of the show, man. Y'all know what I've been through to do this with y'all. Y'all know what I've been through to be solo. So I appreciate y'all showing up, man. A lot of love, a lot of respect. I really do appreciate it. I really do appreciate it, man. Graham says don't bet on kids. How young we talking? Because right now it's stopped at the collegiate level. What happens when they get to high school? What happened? How far will you allow gambling to go down the rabbit hole? I'm just asking. I'm simply presenting a question. Yeah, see, yeah, you got to refer to him as Ophony. All right, let me and again, I love all y'all for being here. I really appreciate that, man. Just please, while y'all here, like the show, share the show, follow me, subscribe, and holler at me as well on the holler at me as well on the Sporting Tribune, because that's where I'm trying to grow with. I'm trying to grow with this group, but they're allowing me to rock solo and be a part of what they're doing. So I'm growing with them. They growing with me, and we're gonna try to see how high we can take this thing. So shout out to them. Oh, phony faux show. Now let's get into the last topic I'm going to get into before I get out of here. And as always, man, I love and appreciate y'all for support. Y'all like this hat? What y'all think of this hat? Should I get these hats and sell them? I want to get a more of a embroidered logo. This is a mock-up. Y'all like this mock-up? I like it. So if I'm going to embroider this thing, but if I buy them, I got to buy like 75 of them, and then that turns into a real investment. So let me know if y'all like the hat before I start making moves on it, because I'm gonna keep this hat no matter what. Now, I the next topic is the saying is very personal to me. The next topic, and yeah, I got a haircut before anybody asks. The next topic is very personal to me. I don't necessarily allow this to come across without speaking about a personal experience that I have. And I got to be perfectly honest with y'all. When you are in a situation and someone shows you who they are and how they get down, please believe them. When a person shows you who they are, when a person truly shows you who they are from a standpoint of how we judge sports now, man, you better believe them. You better believe them. Because this Darren Peterson situation, you better start believing this kid, man. I'm telling y'all right now. This Darren Peterson situation, y'all better start believing him. This kid is showing y'all who he is. Darren Peterson, for those who don't know, was the standout prospect at Kansas. A lot of people compared him to Kobe Bryant. A lot of people compared this guy to being the next best thing when the season started in college basketball. It was A.J. DeBonsa, and it was this kid of who's going to be number one. Darren Peterson, throughout the season, did some very suspect things. He ended up missing a lot of games due to injury. He ended up asking out of games due to injury or just suspicious behavior, suspicious activity at many points in the game where his head coach, Bill Self, legendary Hall of Fame Bill Self, would go, I don't know what happened. Trainer came to me, said he was done. When Bill Self knows what happened. But Bill Self's controlling the situation. He's protecting this kid because there will be other kids after him. Bill Self has such a tough year coaching this kid. Bill Self thought that this might be his last year. Bill Self questioned if he should continue to do the job because of Darren Peterson. And trust me, I have it on good authority. And if anybody tells you anything else, that's the cover. That's the cover. Because Bill Self will continue to coach now that this storm is past. That's all. When someone behaves in a way, you have to take that behavior as this is what they are. They're showing you. You don't have to give people the benefit of the doubt that are not directly in your life. This kid is now refusing to work out for any NBA teams other than the Washington Wizards because he believes that he is the number one pick. This is after being a basically, I wouldn't call him a flame out because when he played, he was fantastic at Kansas. But he's clearly shown the penchant to be a diva. And he hasn't won anything. He shows the ability to appear wildly entitled. And he hasn't won anything. This has an offensive version of Ben Simmons written all over it. I wouldn't, if I was picking high in the draft, there are other good players that you can turn to, and I would stay away from this kid. if you get hurt or injured in college, or you have the perception of injury, or you have the perception of an attitude in college, a lot of guys can score points in the NBA. A lot of them. A lot of guys can score points. When these guys at this age show you that and this isn't maturity what he's doing. This is actual business acumen. This is actually a mature business decision that he is making to not work out for anybody who doesn't have the number one pick. I guess this is his way of saying, if you want the number one, trade up if you want me. Because I'm not working out for anybody but the Washington Wizards. And if I'm the Wizards, I'm not giving this pick up for nothing. If Utah were to call me and say, hey, man, we really want A.J. DeBonza, we'll give you the number 2 pick, and we'll give you, Ace Bailey or some of the other, young, enticing pieces that they have to add to Washington, now you can have a conversation. But if this kid is already telling you, hey, man, I'm not working out for nobody else, unless you got the number 1 pick, and the Wizards have already shown a hell of a lot of interest in A.J. DeBonza. A.J. DeBonza is the number 1 pick, if you ask me. That's just my personal opinion. A lot of people like Darren Peterson. I'll pass. I'll pass. I've seen physical specimens like A.J. DeBonza lead you to a title. Unless Darren Peterson turns out to be Michael Jordan, that doesn't necessarily turn into titles that often. I've seen physical, bruising power forwards lead you to titles. If you're right, okay. If you're right, trade up if you want me. If you're right, nobody has the capital that's in the draft to trade up for this kid if you're the Washington Wizards. If I'm the Wizards, I'm not trading any lower than number 2. I'm just not going to do it because these kids are too good. They're way too good. I'm not trading anywhere lower than 2 because at least I know at 2, I'm going to get the guy who I know I want. Because whoever's trading up for Peterson, once you go past 2, there's no chance of you getting A.J. DeBonza. A.J. DeBonza's going 2, no matter what. So if you trade the number 1 pick for, let's say, if you're the Bulls or you're the Clippers, the 4 or the 5, DeBonza's gone. So I only see this being a 1-2 situation. Utah trading up to 1. That's all I can really see happening. If you're the Wizards, you've been waiting a lifetime for this. If you're the Washington Wizards fan base, you've been waiting a lifetime for this opportunity. You now have it. You have all the cards. Don't give them away. David P. says, sounds familiar. Wish I could think of the kid who did the same thing in the NFL. Well, yeah, the NFL's littered with guys who they don't draft me. Eli did that to the Chargers. That's famous. Don't draft me. John Elway did it. Don't draft me. I just believe when these guys show you who they are that early, don't get yourself involved in this, man. Sebastian Telfair was a player who didn't want to go to certain places. Ended up going to Portland, never did anything in the league, washed out, and now is telling people he's broke living in the projects again back in Brooklyn or somewhere in New York. These guys, trust me, as talented as some of these guys are, because a lot of guys can score in the NBA, you can play yourself out. Is this guy the next Kobe Bryant? I've never heard of Kobe Bryant quit because of cramps. Is this guy the next Michael Jordan? I never seen Michael Jordan ask out of a game. I mean, I never seen Michael Jordan in North Carolina ask out of a game. I never seen Kobe Bryant in his entire career ask out of a game. That's who they're comparing this kid to. That's who they're comparing this kid to. There are certain aspects of the players who they compare them to from personality that I go, nah, not even close. You're comparing this kid to all these great players, and these players you're comparing them to never missed a game because of cramps. Yeah, you're right. Different league, different culture. Tolteca Mexica. Different league, different culture. Yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. It is a different league. And these guys are coming up in a different culture. But at the same time, AJ DeBonson never asked out because of cramps. Carlos, Caden Boozer, the Boozer kid, never asked out because of cramps. I watched Darius Acuff play through every injury damn near in the book, other than having a muscle truly be torn and carry his team deep in the tournament. This guy couldn't finish regular season games because of cramping, and then had the audacity to lie to our face and say it was the creatine. But the creatine's been illegal. To my understanding, maybe the rules have changed. Creatine's been illegal for a long time. You can't even use creatine unless he's got a different level of version of creatine, which he might have access to that I don't or never heard of. But so I don't know. I don't know, man. These guys show you who they are in life. Please believe them. There will always be signs. It's whether or not you choose to see them. Darren Peterson is showing you what type of NBA player he will be. Are you willing to dance on that floor? Is he worth the trouble? Is the juice worth the squeeze? The draft is next week. We'll find out. Even Sam Bowie never came out because of cramps. Yeah, man. I mean, we talk about in college. We're not even talking about the rigorous schedule that is the NBA. You play double the games. You do double the travel. You do double the practices. It's a harder lifestyle. It's a far harder lifestyle in the NBA. This guy's already on minutes watch, and he hasn't even been drafted yet. What they call it? The kids load managing, and he hadn't even been drafted yet. He load managing on workouts. The kid is load managing on workouts already. Only we'll meet with the number one team. All right, cool. Good luck with that, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat pack today, man. Good show today. Appreciate y'all coming through. Like I said, the Sporting Tribune tonight is on nightly. I jump in and out of there a couple times a week, so check them out. Check out the Sporting Tribune, period. That's the new squad I'm rocking with. We're going to be rolling out some stuff coming up soon. Try to widen my ability on the platform, see what we can do. And that's really it, man. That's really it for today. I appreciate y'all being part of the show. Let's do it again tomorrow. I'll see y'all at 10 a.m. Appreciate y'all, man. Peace.